What's going on, everybody? Welcome to the after show, Baldur's Gate, episode 46. Woo!
Hey.
What a ride, dude. What a ride.
When you play with the Archfey.
It was definitely something.
There was some first here tonight. Aelun, is this your first tie ever in competitions?
First tie?
Has Aelun ever tied before in his life? He's either won or lost, and I don't even know if he's ever lost. We've only seen him win.
I mean, I got my head chopped off. That's a loss, I think.
Touche.
That's fair.
But I came back, so I guess that's a tie.
So I see. That tracks. I get that.
I appreciate you weaving the story in through improv and building the bridge of, hey, show me where to go, my friend. Let's have a little skills competition. Because we always love those here. Big fan of rolling dice for skills competition. So I appreciate the improv bridge to the other side, because I hadn't decided how we were going to get to the Myrith's chamber just yet. But you gave a perfect place, and I love our little Neverland that you visited. We got to get our feast on, as always.
That was a blast. I enjoyed that quite a lot, and being able to build some of that out. And I don't know. I felt like for the last couple of weeks, like we've been doing a lot of things. But I'm like, I think with Asher, he's always going to play that card of like, oh, I've got a champion, because he knows at this point that Aelun will never back down from a fight. And so we had even brought it up in the episode where it was like, oh, do I hear him? And I'm like, I'm sitting there literally like, I'm saying this so that Aelun hears me, because I know if I bring this up, he will want to do it. And I was like, and Aelun did not fail. And then I was like, well, maybe this isn't a great idea because we have other things. But then it's Aelun, and he's just like, no, I will win. What are you talking about? I will win. Like, it's fine. We'll do this. I want his parrot and his molar and his shoes. And I'm like, here we are.
It's impressive how many checks he's actually able to cash by having a low athletics, with a dump stat of we built everything into that character being this badass monk.
Yeah, I still have advantage on athletics though, but it is a -1.
I will say it was wild that you matched and tied 3 straight rolls with your that was crazy. I was like, are you kidding me?
Everyone else would be jealous.
At that point, I had to invoke the law of the Fae and be like, no, this is it. Because he's trying to make money off the fight. Once there was 3 ties, I was like, oh, this is perfect. That's the way it has to be.
Yeah.
He made money.
No, honestly, if I tied 3 times, that's a win. The way I roll. I'm like, hey, that worked out pretty well for me. I know it's not the same for you.
So, out of this encounter, I wanted to make something feel very, very awkward, very ambiguous. Ambiguous. There we go. My words. And I wanted you to be obviously uncomfortable and not knowing exactly what you would barter. I wanted it to be a strange Fae encounter. And obviously, you guys all picked up on it and were like, am I offering myself? Am I offering this actual tribute? I don't like all of this, but I really don't want to fight all of this in this Fae layer either. And I'm glad that you guys came and you're like, okay, I'm going to semi-bargain, but if I have to, fuck it, I'm out. And honest to God, I thought you guys were just going to be like, I'm going to attack the door and go out. At first, I was getting ready. I was like, okay, I didn't think about this. They may just go and focus on the door at first. I'm like, rad. What? So I started getting that shit ready of like, okay, how am I going to do it if they just going to bust through the back door and be like, no, I don't want any part of this.
I will say I was proud. I was proud of us too, because normally we're like, okay, you want to eat us and feed us to this flower? Okay, we're just gonna kill you. But,
I was that close.
I was trying to be like Asher, like, like, hey, there's like rules to the Feywild, but like even then, like to a point. And then luckily Gitzi was like, oh, I have this thing, and then it was like enough. But even then I wasn't sure, because like I wasn't sure if it was actually the tribute or if she was part of that tribute. I was like, so I'm like, regardless, if this thing tries to eat any of us, I mean, it's on, right? Like at that point we're defending ourselves. But I was proud that we like really worked on ways to like get around it and not try to have combat. And obviously things happened, and it's the Fae and it's us, so shit always happens. But I was happy that we were like not just like, okay, I cast fireball and Mud goes in and beheads 3 flowers and there we go. Like Gitzi throws a hammer, Josiah shoot shit.
I was gonna start by using my scorching ray to burn all the flowers.
Yeah.
So good thing you guys talk first.
Yeah. No, I was really glad, along with Adam, was like, we have a very typical rhythm of how we handle encounters, and it's often with weapons in hand. And so it was, I was really glad to feel in sync with the motivations there of thinking of it. I mean, your character was thinking more of Faye. Mine was Gitzi's tired and she didn't get to eat beforehand. So there's no energy for this.
No, and Gitzi came at it with had plenty of logic, and there's no logic inside the Fae. There's only the emotion. Why wouldn't you come? If you came here early, then feed this flower so we can get to the harvest. Of course, we need this. We need to continue this cycle.
I keep thinking to myself, man, I probably should have read the pamphlet. Should have read the pamphlet. There was probably like, go in the autumn season during twilight, during peak crimson bulb growing. But like this tracks back to last week when we did the dream walk, and I had the choice. I knew, okay, I need to take the twilight if this is the path to it. But I was like, nah, that's not cool. Like, I want to show my friends the Fae and all the cool shit. Like, I was like, it's probably going to be more difficult. I guess I shouldn't say I knew, but I had an assumption. And then, afterwards you were like, yeah, no, if you go to the twilight, that's actually where, the flower is and all that stuff. But I like how things turned out, and there's possible repercussions. We don't know.
100% repercussions, like, but it depends on what it is.
What that is.
Does that archfey get stronger? Does the bean that you planted, do you have this new chaotic overlord that has a connection to you? Who knows? You'll see how it progresses there, but it's going to be a fun, like, you get to run in and you get to pop out. Like, we won't spend much time in the Fae next week. We will be headed back into the city again and rock and roll. I mean, that's my intention for you to head in and out on these excursions. That's what they're meant to do, is to come along and have a bounty and be able to exit you please. I'm sure there'll be some loose ends that you want to tie up while you're inside the Fae for the first time back, and then boom, we're back in Baldur's Gate, and this, whatever this is, sits and marinates until the next time that we're there.
No,
oh joy. Oh joy.
I'm just happy we got to see Josiah's backup plan of like, hey, this drinking horn doesn't work, so how about me? Like, I'll just, hey, I'm big and strong now,
The prince thing to do.
He was just trying to proof of the poison. Yeah, you drink this, strong like bull. Come on. He was only emboldened by Gitzi running up with that plate of food. He's like, well, if Gitzi can do it, she brought the food, I'll bring the party. That's what I do.
It was the perfect scene, and it would have worked, but it failed on the rolls. And then you're like, your backup plan is, well, I'm going to show it that I'm a prince. And of course you get to do this to Jinrid, like the last person who gives a shit.
I love that.
So it was perfect. It was like, no one cares, and this archfey doesn't care either. So take hold of this fucking pig, and you're gonna walk forward.
Such a great moment between Jen and Josiah. Shut up, rich boy. Grab the pig, and I'm gonna save your life.
Oh.
No, it was great. That was, I actually enjoyed that moment because it kept doing that nod to that kind of build up that you guys have, which I think is pretty great. And the other part that I found interesting was like, I totally made a note where I'm like, I'm gonna have a stern talking to with Josiah because he literally just gave up this gift that I gave him from the Feywild. And I was so mad that I was like, well, screw it, I'm gonna give your sword up. And then you're like, that sword is powerful, what are you doing? And I'm like, what does it do? And you're like, it glows. And I'm like, what?
It had a little. It's got a little essence of
No, for
moonlight,
sure.
so it's like a perfect piece to put in there. I was excited. That one's cool. A good offering.
I offer because I'm like, I don't ever use this. Like, I'm not a melee fighter. Like,
I mean, incredible clutch rolls with the beans. I pretty much rule anything that's up on bean rolls when it comes to them. I do the vine sprout from like 70 up above on any of these because it's wild. It's like creatures with eggs, or the like if you roll the 100, it's the big dragon and beanstalk. There's a mummy lord that comes out in there.
oh my god.
There's hungry belays come out. Like there's all sorts of shit. They can explode. If you would have chucked the extra egg, it would do 10d6 force damage. There's just all sorts of
kudos to Gitzi to think of it like, hey, here's a good escape, and
yeah, because I thought we were gonna have to I didn't know how we're gonna blast to get the other side, but
yeah, I don't.
Gitzi is a hoarder, so
hippogriffs were fucking dope on it, and a great combo of all your stuff to do. Still trying to land that disintegrate. It was
It's a big hit or miss, man. It's
hey.
But it was literally like, okay, this is a magical wall of some kind, and disintegrate is like literally the only spell that breaks any kind of wall of force whatsoever. It's like literally the only spell besides like a wish spell, I think, or something. So I was like, this is the best thing I have for it. I'm gonna give it a go. It just, didn't work out.
Made for a badass ending of you guys using all your shit to break up and get past archphase magic and get out in this very like it style ending of it trying to come after you.
Indiana Jones.
And we get a badass fucking Aelun moment that only you can do.
So cool.
Just, of course, I can jump off. I can do this. Like anybody else, it's like dire straits. And it's, this is what champions do.
Hey, well, wings unfurled. You can fly 100 feet.
So here's the fun little bonus. Those bloom golems, every time they hit wild magic surge, that was the big bad off of it. The smaller ones, they did a wild magic surge, but a much reduced and only once on the first touch. And inside this room, had you done anything sneaky or earlier, there were Guardian Vine archers
Oh, look at those sons of bitches hiding up there.
up on the pillars. But you never did anything threatening. You just stepped forward and did the thing. And made it a fun Indiana Jones style snatch and grab, which I'm a huge fan of.
Then there's the cat, the archfey. I'd mention that a little bit too.
very normal cat.
Yeah, meow.
Hey, just wants you to manifest and come here, meow. What else could a flower think of that everyone would like to deal with than it's a manifestation of a cat? So it's not a real cat, it's just this flower projecting itself. So the archfey is the layer, is the room, is the plant. So it's projecting this, this kitty. It wants you to come on up to the kitty, but it has no charisma. It has no sense of how to be. It's a flower. It has no idea how to be a cat. So that's why it's going meow at the end of it. Like it has no clue.
This is what cats do.
This is what cats do. Come, please. We'll have this brunch ready for you. Just sit and wait for us. Yeah. So I was like, I really actually want to be the Cheshire cat, but I can't. I have to be this weird robotic version, which is fun to see you guys react off of.
I have a question, and I don't know if you will tell or not, but had we stayed and not like tried to leave or whatever, were we always going to end up as part of the like sacrifice? Like, were we always going to be eaten? Like,
nope.
Regardless of our
You
tribute.
guys gave your tribute. You just had to figure out the time mechanic then. Then it was up to, can you use magic somehow to speed this thing forward? How do we do this? Because you're in the face. So you have things that can manipulate time, and you have some magic. So it's just a different way of looking about, like, maybe you try to fool this thing. Do you use magic to make it look like it's harvest time?
Gotcha.
Whatever your tools were, if you wanted to physically speed it up or fake speed it up was a route, or take it and run. One or the other. Or
run, baby.
Or you guys could have all drank the champagne and stomach stashed the pedal that was on the inside.
I am not a drug mule. Something tells me that's a terrible idea.
Or hold it in your mouth, do whatever. There was a pedal on each one of those as well to try to keep.
Not a drug mule.
So there was always multiple outs. There was never 100% you were screwed as long as you guys did something. Now the problem would have been with all of it being the time mechanic and all that. The hogs eventually they go poof. They're not real nourishment. Everybody else had something that was real and tangible. Mine would have turned back into Fey dust. So would have had to done something timely.
Moonbeam like eternally back and forth, defeat it that way.
Could have, yeah.
See,
could have been a steady stream, but it only lasts for 10 minutes, 1 minute. A lot of casting.
Need a lot of arcane recoveries.
Oh God, but appreciate you guys. Fun episode. We'll see everybody next week. Thank you guys.